Let me tell you how my whole world got flipped upside down, just from a knock on the door one frozen January morning, when all I wanted was one quiet weekend to myself. I'll never forget it. 7 a.m. The coldest Saturday of the year, my breath fogging the air inside my cabin because the heater was barely on. I'm standing there in my old sweatpants just trying to wake up. And right there on my front step is Trouble all wrapped up in a white parka that probably cost more than my truck. She looked like she'd stepped out of some catalog. Blonde hair pulled so tight it had to hurt a face that said she was annoyed before I even opened the door. "Xavier Hutchinson," she asks in this clipped nasal tone. "That's me," I mumble, wishing I'd thrown on something warmer. "I'm Patricia Vanderbilt, president of the Mountain Ridge Homeowners Association. We need to discuss your violation of community standards immediately." I blinked. For a second, I thought I was dreaming. Mountain Ridge, that's the fancy gated community they built 3 years back out on the edge of Bridger Falls, Montana. Population maybe 2,000. Now my little cabin sits a half-mile outside their gates, a spot my grandfather picked out and built himself long before a single McMansion or designer boot touched this soil. "Ma'am, I'm not part of your HOA," I said real slow, like I was talking to a child who just discovered a new word. "My land's not in your development." Her lips got thinner. "That's irrelevant. The road leading to our community passes your property, and you have a legal obligation to maintain it during winter weather events." Now I'm fully awake, leaning against the doorframe, already annoyed. "That's a county road. Not my responsibility." She says the county told us because of budget cuts, they're only doing the main highways. You, Mr. Hutchinson, own the only operational snowplow in Bridger Falls. You have a responsibility to assist your neighbors. She wasn't wrong about the plow. I've got a 2015 Ford F-350 with a heavy-duty blade up front. That thing's how I pay my bills all winter, plowing driveways, private roads, even a few county jobs when their old equipment gives up the ghost. But responsibility, that was a stretch. "I help the neighbors who hire me," I told her. "If your HOA wants my service, it's $75 an hour, 3-hour minimum. And that's the friend rate since we're technically neighbors." She snapped, "That's extortion." I just shrugged. "Nope. That's business." I started to close the door, but she jammed her expensive boot in the gap. "You will clear that road by Monday morning or the HOA will take legal action. We have connections with the county commissioners." I felt something hot spark in my chest. "Lady, get your foot out of my door or I'll move it for you. And you can tell your HOA threats don't work on me. Have a nice day." I shoved the door. She stumbled back, cheeks burning, and I watched through the window as she stomped back to her black Mercedes, furious. Truth is, this wasn't my first run-in with Mountain Ridge folks. When they started building out there, they tried to buy my land. Twice. Offered what they thought was a generous sum. Didn't matter. This place has been in my family for 3 generations, and I'm not about to watch my granddad's work bulldozed for a cookie-cutter palace. I poured coffee, sat at the table, looking out at the pines, heavy with fresh snow. The storm started. Friday dropped 8 inches already, with more coming tonight. My phone buzzed. It was Derek, my old buddy, now a deputy. "Heard Patricia Vanderbilt paid you a visit," he texted. "Small towns gossips faster than 5G. "Yeah, she's a real charmer," I texted back. "Wants me to plow for free," Derek replied. "She's making everyone miserable. 3 noise complaints last month alone. Apparently Bob's rooster starts crowing too early for her taste." I laughed out loud. Bob's rooster has been greeting the dawn since before Patricia ever bought a map of Montana. Layered up, I headed out to my first job, Mrs. Chen at the diner, Bob at the hardware store, the Johnsons at the horse ranch. Mrs. Chen met me with a thermos of hot chocolate, grateful as always. "That Vanderbilt woman came into the diner, complained about no vegan options," she told me. "Honey, this is Montana. We serve steak and eggs." I nearly choked on my drink. "She's trying to change everything about this place," Mrs. Chen said, serious now. "Be careful, Xavier. Folks like her don't quit until someone stands up." The snow kept coming, visibility dropped, and by mid-afternoon I was worn out, ready to head home. My phone rang, unknown number. "Mr. Hutchinson, this is Gerald Finch from the county commissioner's office. We received a complaint. Mrs. Vanderbilt says you're refusing to provide essential services during a weather emergency, made threatening statements." My grip tightened on the wheel. "That's nonsense. I gave her my rates she didn't want to pay. There's no law that says I have to work for free." "Well, she claims Montana statutes require you to provide emergency assistance." I asked, "Is that true?" He hesitated. "Honestly, I don't know. But Mrs. Vanderbilt and some residents are threatening a lawsuit. I'm a private contractor. I set my rates. They can hire me like anyone else or not at all. If they want to sue, that's their problem. Finch sighed, I get it. I'll relay your side. I don't think she's got a case, but politics. I hung up, nerves jangling. This was spiraling fast. That night, the snow kept falling. Just as I started dinner, a convoy of SUVs rolled up Mountain Ridge stickers on every windshield. Patricia and her crew. I met them at the door. Private property. Leave. She started her speech. People can't get to work. Kids can't get to school. It's Saturday. There's no school, I cut in. A younger woman jumped in. You're being selfish? No, I'm running a business. My rates are public. Don't like them, don't hire me. Now leave. A man, mid-50s tan, from wintering somewhere warm, stepped up. We've got lawyers. We'll make life uncomfortable. I held up my phone. That's nice. I have the sheriff's number. Want to see who shows up first? Your lawyer or the law? You wouldn't dare. I dialed. Derek, I've got 4 cars full of Mountain Ridge HOA here refusing to leave. How quick can you get here? 10 minutes. Stay inside. I told Patricia 10 minutes till the sheriff arrives. Use that time wisely. She bristled. You're making a mistake, Mr. Hutchinson. My husband's a partner at a top law firm in Billings. I just nodded. 8 minutes left. They finally left and Derek arrived just as their taillights disappeared. You've got grounds for a restraining order if this keeps up, he said. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But I didn't sleep easy. Patricia's threats felt real. Sunday snow everywhere, 16 inches and counting. My phone rang off the hook with paid jobs, but every time I passed Mountain Ridge, their road looked worse, unplowed, nearly impassable. I felt bad for some of the families, but I can't pay my mortgage on good intentions. Not going to let Patricia bully me. That evening, my Aunt Linda called. She works at the county clerk's office. Patricia was digging through your records, looking for anything to use against you, taxes, licenses. I shook my head. I'm up to date, business license, insurance, all of it. Linda sighed. She did this before to the Rusty Nail Bar. Complained it out of business. That bar had been open 30 years. Monday dawned cold and bright. 18 inches of snow and the phone rings again. Finch from the county. Mountain Ridge is petitioning to suspend your business license, accusing you of monopolizing emergency services, price gouging, making threats. I nearly laughed. They're the ones harassing me. Ask Deputy Derek Wilson. He took my statement. Finch was sympathetic but firm. Hearings Wednesday. Bring everything you've got. Patricia's bringing a lawyer. Derek was furious when I called him. They're abusing the legal system to force you. I'll testify. I'll pull the HOA's complaint record, show the commissioners their pattern. Tuesday, something changed. Bob at the hardware store called. Come by. 20 people stood there, locals. Mrs. Chen, Derek, the Johnsons. We've all had enough, Bob said. Mountain Ridge keeps trying to change everything. We're coming to the hearing, we'll testify. This isn't just about you. It's about our whole town. I choked up a lump in my throat. Wednesday afternoon. The hearing room was packed. Locals on one side, Mountain Ridge on the other. Patricia's lawyer front and center. Patricia made her case, painted me as a greedy bully, a threat to public safety. I stood up, shaking but determined. Commissioners, I'm a private contractor. My rates are the same for everyone. I don't work for free. They threatened me, trespassed, and I called the sheriff. Patricia's lawyer tried to argue I was a monopoly, but Derek jumped in. County equipment breaks down. Xavier stepped up, kept people moving. If folks don't like his rate, they can hire someone else. Mrs. Chen, old Jim Thompson, and Sarah Johnson all stood up one after another, saying the real problem was Mountain Ridge trying to rewrite how things are done, not me doing honest work. Commissioner Bradley looked down at Patricia. Do you have evidence of illegal behavior? Patricia's lawyer mumbled. Not specifically. The crowd broke into applause. The commission ruled in my favor. No action against my business. Stop trying to use the county to fight personal battles, Commissioner Ward said. Patricia stormed out fuming. I thought that was the end, boy, was I wrong. Patricia filed a civil suit for $50,000, accused me of refusing essential services. Tom Granger, my lawyer, said, they don't have a case. They're betting you'll fold because legal bills are scary. Derek dug into Patricia's history. Turns out she'd done this in California too. Lost big and had to pay damages for harassment. Soon Mountain Ridge folks had enough of her. Amanda, a resident, called to say they were moving to oust Patricia. I gave her what I had: sheriff's reports, hearing transcript. They held a meeting and voted her out, replaced her with Robert Callahan, a practical guy who wanted to make things work. Robert called me, we made a deal, flat monthly contract, no drama. Patricia, though, kept at it, filed a criminal complaint. I went down to the county attorney, brought Tom, laid out the truth. The attorney took one look at Patricia's pile of complaints and tossed it. Then the IRS got tipped off. Patricia had been using HOA funds to pay her husband's firm for personal lawsuits. Federal charges, embezzlement, tax fraud. By summer, she'd packed up, left town. House sold to a nice couple, no trouble since. With new leadership, the HOA turned things around. Transparency, real community events that actually brought people together. The great HOA snow battle became local legend. Mrs. Chen gives me free coffee, kids wave as I plow. Marcus, another snow guy, moved in. Now we share the work, the whole place running smoother than ever. I spoke at a town meeting about HOAs, how they're just tools, can be used well or abused. People need accountability, leadership, and the courage to say enough. That story got around, and soon folks from other towns called me asking how to stand up when an HOA goes off the rails. By the second winter, things were good. No drama. Work was steady, business grew, and Bridger Falls kept its soul. The morning of the second anniversary of Patricia's infamous knock, I sat with coffee on the porch, watching the sun rise over the mountains. The cabin still stood, the plow still worked, and the town still felt like home, a place where people had your back, where a rooster crowing at dawn was a blessing, not a nuisance. Here's the truth I learned. Sometimes standing your ground is the only thing that keeps a place worth living in. Bullies come and go, power, money, all that, it fades. But a community that stands up, that remembers its roots and cares for its own, that's real strength. I wouldn't wish the past couple years on anybody, but I'm glad I went through it. Not just for me, but for everyone who's ever been pushed around and finally decided to push back. So what's fair? What's justice? Maybe it's just doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Maybe it's helping the little guy or speaking up when it's easier to stay quiet. I don't know, but I'd love to hear your take. Drop your story below. Tell me about the time you stood up, or maybe when you wished you had. Let's talk about what justice means, what community is, and how we keep our towns, big or small, from getting steamrolled by folks who think rules don't apply to them. Because in the end, we're all just trying to keep our own roads clear, one storm at a time.